I don't know where to start tonight because I've got so much to tell you that blows me away. And nothing really kind of gets me anymore because I am so beyond I'm so beyond being shocked by anything that nothing really bothers me. Nothing even remotely bothers me or surprises me. We're going to be talking about a lousy $700 for Lahaina victims from Biden. $700. Think I'm kidding? $700. Ukraine first, then $700. 130 billion for Ukraine, $700. $700. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you get what I'm saying? Do you follow what I'm saying? Do you see this? $700. $700. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to don't know what to say. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try my best to see if I can explain this. I think in error, I had put down August the 18th at 7 p.m. versus the 17th. So you might not be here. But this is why it's important to always have that. What am I trying to say? It's important to have that little bell or whatever. Let me remind you, it does bring me up to speed. It does bring me up to remind myself and you that we so appreciate you being with us. Please follow us on that their X thing. It's really important. X Twitter. I'm not buying any of this. I don't buy any of this stuff. You see where Tucker's book is like flat? Who wants to read his? Why? I don't. There's certain things I ask people. Are you paying attention? Tucker's book, the life story, whatever. Look, he does a good job on TV. Let's don't lose our mind in this, okay? So anyway, thank you for that. Let me also remind you, this is also brought to our dear friends tonight at mypillow.com, the great Mike Lindell and others, standing up for what's right and providing some of the best product available to you and yours. Mike Lindell, God bless him. mypillow.com, mypillow.com. Also, make sure you subscribe to this. You got to make sure you're subscribing. You got to make sure, because if you don't, none of this matters. You also have to like the video and subscribe as well. And don't forget to hit that little bell, that little notification. And by the way, if you like the really dirty stuff, when I say dirty, I'm not really dirty, but I can speak like an adult. That's at lionelmedia.com for the private paid site. Now let me go through this and let me just take you through this one. This one just kills me right off the bat. Joe Biden is facing renewed criticism, flack, for his pathetic response to the devastating wildfires on Lahaina, Maui, after offering the victims, American citizens, a paltry, measly, lousy $700 per household. He won't visit it. He has no comment. $700 per household. Everybody describes the sum as insulting, compared it with more than it's 150 billion worth of aid the U.S. has sent to Ukraine in a proxy war against Russia. And on Monday, your government announced it was sending $200 million in defensive capabilities, whatever the hell that might. And you know it's not going to end up going to Ukraine's going to end up in somebody's pocket. Biden doesn't care. He doesn't care. He already received an excoriation over what many people saw as this dismissive response to the death toll on Lahaina. Just dismissing questions about disaster while spending the weekend at his beach house. And after the first death, oh, and by the way, you know what you're not hearing? You know what you're not hearing about? The kids who were killed. Kids. How do you like that? Kids' bodies that were found. A lot of the parents, they were off or something that day for school. The parents came home. Sometimes the kids aren't there. After the first fatalities and the death were announced on Wednesday, Biden expressed his, quote, deepest condolences to the families of those. And he said that he was grateful to the brave firefighters and first responders who continue to run toward danger, putting themselves in harm's way. Blah, 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 blah. And then he declared it a federal disaster. Thank you. Making, of course, federal funding and the like available to individuals who were affected. This is his quote. This is Governor Josh Green. It's going to take a great deal of time to recover from this, but we have the support from every level of government, especially given President Biden's approval of our disaster declaration request. $700 a household. Let me tell you something. And I have been saying this, and you've been saying this, and a lot of us have been realizing this since day one. You don't know what's happening regarding everything in Maui. You don't understand it. You don't get it. You don't understand it. It's unbelievable. I was talking to my good friend Dane Wigington from geoengineeringwatch.org. Whoa! You can't handle that one. You can handle it. It is so complicated and so deep, and it's so horrible. It's like a mini little 9/11. It's a mini 9/11. Do you grasp it? Are you digging this? Are you feeling this? Do you see what's happening here? Are you kind of? It's unreal. And I think that the maybe, I don't know, the folks from the directed energy crew, I think they might be kind of calming down. I don't know where this one came from. This is my favorite. This kind of came out of nowhere, like these rays. What do you know? Well, you know. And by the way, because I don't want to do this now, I don't think this is a place to do it. Believe me, I do it on my private channel. That's all I got to say. But, you know, there's a lot of folks out there who kind of have this crazy idea that somehow there has been established beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt this thing called directed engineering or directed energy weapons. And they point to people like, you know, Judy Wood and 9/11. I'm only going to tell you this right now. There's a whole bunch of other folks with architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth and Richard Gage and others who say she has no interest in the forensics. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say, because remember, I want proof. I want proof. And I can tell you what proof. We're not going anywhere with that one. She has no interest in any of the forensics. that architects and engineers for 9/11 truth and others have posited. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Because people, they come on board at the last minute, and all of a sudden they want to say, "Oh, that sounds interesting." Wow, wow. People go sometimes to things because it just sounds interesting. Hey, what's it? You got that video of that Russian guy, the one who said there's a nuclear bomb? Yeah, send that to me. That's a good one. Do you believe it? I don't know if I believe it. Is it worth? Well, I don't know if it makes sense, but I sure like it. Again, I'm going to get you. I swear to you, you are going to be absolutely positively. You are going to be so good at being able to demand proof of stuff. You are not suspicion, not stuff that's kind of neat or fun, but you're really going to get good at this. By the way, that's the link for that private. Now, here's the best one for you. Now, let me talk about LGBTQIA 2S plus LG, whatever it is. Now, let me start off with this, and I'm going to be very obviously open and honest and candid with you as I normally am, as I always am. Always. I tell you as follows. Number one. Oh, there's Sparky, by the way. Sparky says, and I think this is most interesting. Sparky writes most carefully, most cleverly. You see this. What is going on here? Let me see something. This is very interesting. I wonder why. Let me just check my stuff here. Very interesting. Let me go back to our good friend, Sparky. Sparky, bless your heart. Sparky says, I like this. Sparky says, make Maui native again. There you go with that one, my friend. There you go with that. Thank you, my friend. And also he says, $700 doesn't go far, especially in Hawaii. Yes, $700 a household. A household. And finally, elites probably don't intend to make the devastation in Maui so bad, not taking the wind into account. They may end up letting the state have it. You know? I can't figure out how these people do this, my friend. I don't know how any of these people seriously, honestly do this. I don't know how. I don't know how this works. I don't know how. Let me see something here. I don't know how these folks come across and actually do this stuff. It is nothing short of amazing, as it is to me. Amazing, but I digress. Now, let me talk about some other things too. This is a fascinating issue. And by the way, there's our good friend, Silver Fox. $700 is an insulting disgrace. However, the corruption continues with $24 billion going to Ukraine. Next, if Trump goes to prison, what will happen to the Secret Service detail? You know, you bring up such an incredibly important and critical point. I can't say that enough to you. Do you understand this? I can't say that enough to you. That is an excellent point. And by the way, do you, my dear friend, does anybody here actually, truly, seriously believe that Trump could end up in prison? You damn right he could. Build a better world with BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Yes. Now, let me start off with this, dear friends. And let me remind you of something, and let me bring you up to speed. First, I must ask you, do you believe that some people, irrespective of their genitals, do you believe that some people may identify with a sex may prefer to wear dresses or pants, whatever it is. Do you believe this, even though they have the genitalia? And I'm going to tell you that they have the genitalia that was prescribed or given to them. Do you believe this is true? Do you? Do you understand this? It's critical. And the reason for that, let me see something. I'm going to try something interesting here. Is not our genitals, but what we believe. Anybody agree with that? Anybody agree with that? Do you think, is there anybody here that says, no. When somebody says they feel like a woman or a man, that's not true. Does anybody really believe this? Does anybody believe this? Does anybody? Important. Does anybody, because this is important. Does anybody think that there's no such thing as that? There's no such thing as somebody who says that they believe it. No. Does anybody really believe that? Does anybody? Because I got to tell you something. This is the most important thing I can tell you. This is, I honestly believe beyond belief that what we are and what we claim to be, that what we claim to be in terms of our genital, that has nothing to do with it. Most of us are pretty much in sync. Most of us are born like this, and that's the way it is. But I do believe from now, there is this person every now and then that comes along. Absolutely. The number, I don't know. Absolutely. I believe there have people who said, I don't care what you say. I don't know if this is a preference, but I identify with being a woman, and I want to be a woman, and I want to wear it, and that's it. Or if you haven't seen this, if you haven't seen women in particular being very, 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 dare I say, masculine. You understand this? Very. If you haven't seen this, you're not paying attention. How can you look at this and say, no, that's not it? We think these people are crazy? They're not crazy. I've seen people for years, since I can remember, some, not often, who look as though they are men by virtue of the way you can't tell. Nobody cares one way or the other. I don't think they're mentally ill. I don't think I don't know if you can diagnose it. And that may have started their whole life, and that may have been something they've always thought. And I know this. And if you don't know this, you must live in a very small town, or you must literally and actually know nothing. Because I see it, I know it, and I know exactly who these people are. I know exactly. I know exactly who they are. And I'm sorry to tell you this, and you might not like this. I know people don't want to hear this because they believe that things are apodictic and black and white, and they think of this, but I don't. I think it's a rarity, but it's true. Okay. Let me read you this story of stories. This is the one that absolutely gets me. This one just kills me. Rachel Levine, who was the Biden's first trans whatever. Admiral Rachel Levine, Assistant Secretary for Health and Department of Health and Human Services, praised an Alaska gender clinic, which apparently promoted revisionist ideas and the like about biological sex, including eliminating the word mother from K through 12 science classes. She applauded that. Good for you. This admiral actually praised these folks. Isn't that something? Why? What is there to praise? Why would you want to do this? Well, let me repeat this. Levine visited this Alaska. This class. saying these inspiring people work tirelessly to create a more equitable future where all those living in the U.S. have equal access to life-saving medical care. Life-saving? Why is this life-saving? Identity Alaska, is the name of the organization, actively promotes radical ideas such as biological sex, ideas about biological sex in its resources section called Gender Inclusive Biology. And it works as the gender inclusive biology curriculum catered for science teachers. Recommends, quote, child-friendly definitions of terms relating to gender and sexuality. It said kids as young as kindergarten should learn about how doctors assign the gender to babies by making a guess, and also including guidance as to how to speak to the age group about sexual attraction. Now, a doctor will make a guess. The doctor will make a guess. You understand what? Maybe, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sparky says, I hear bologna sandwiches get old. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm not sure about that. But thank you so much for that. So what they want to do is they want to do this. So this doctor, they want you to believe that when a person is born, the doctor looks at the child, looks at the genitals, sees a penis, sees a scrotum, testes, perhaps scrotal sac, they haven't descended yet, the bulbourethral raphe, the penis, the glands, the corona, the meatus, the prepuce, all of the attendant aspects of the male genitalia. And they're saying, a doctor then says, now let's see. Let's see what this is. Sparky says, solution to election abnormalities, don't allow poll workers who have unnaturally colored hair or man buns. Don't know what that means, Sparky. Don't know, babe. But I'm digging it. Thank you. Sparky, what do you think about this? You know the sonographers? The sonographers who sit there, God bless them. They sit there and they look at this pattern of, I don't know what this stuff is. And they look at it. Sparky was referring to prison food at the Atlanta jail. Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you for helping me out. John McGuire, what do you think about this? What do you think about a doctor and Sparky? I'm just focusing on this. A sonographer who looks and says, that's a male, that's a penis, that's a male. I'm not making a guess. That's a penis. Sometimes there might be some hermaphroditism, or you can have a hermaphrodite or a pseudo-hermaphrodite. You can have some kind of confusion. Years ago, by the way, there was the notion of engorged genitalia, which was the name of my high school band. And there was one person in particular, I'm not going to mention, there was an actress who theoretically says, or it was thought that when she was born, or somebody famous years ago, that they noticed that her clitoris was rather enlarged. And I believe clitoridectomy was applied or something, and therefore it was all work. And this was very common in the 50s because nobody knew what to do, because when babies come out, sometimes they're hard to. And there maybe is kind of a little bit of a guesswork. But for the most part, there's no guesswork. A sonographer will say, nope, that's a baby, that's a boy, that's a girl. And they don't want, I forgot to tell you, they don't want to, listen to this, they don't want mothers to be called mothers. They want them to be called, dig this, egg suppliers. You see, they don't want them, they want to strike the word mother from reproduction, referring to them as a gestational parent, a birth parent, egg producer, or carrier. Similarly, a child shouldn't be told they have genes from their mom and dad. Instead, it should be phrased, you received a mix of genes from sperm and egg. Not from your mother and father, but from the sperm. There's no human connection to this. For example, men and male, they don't want to say that women and female. No. You want to say, you want to focus on the organ or the functional activity of the role. For example, women, You don't want to say that. You want to say ovaries produce eggs. Not women produce eggs. Ovaries produce eggs. You don't want to say males are more likely to be colorblind. You want to say, no, XY individuals. Not the mother, but the gestational parent carries the fetus for 9 months. The gender inclusive curriculum goes so far as to recommend in avoiding the biological sex terms male and female when referring to hormones. Instead of male hormones and female hormones, the correct terminology would be using terms testosterone or estrogen. The correct terminology for men and women is also those with ovaries and those with testicles. So let me ask you something. Help me out with this. And you're pretty smart about this. We have, by the way, Sparky says Vice President Nixon counted Hawaii's alternate electors, despite there being, for his opponent, JFK in January 1961. Pence could have continued alternate electors. Oh, Sparky, you are so correct. In fact, this was one of the most important elements of remember, that was the first time, very interesting, that was the first time that Hawaii, I believe, was even in any kind of I just lost my train of thought. I hear bells going off. Hang on a minute. It was the first time that Hawaii was in this race, so consequently, it was new to them. And Nixon was an absolute peach, especially when he basically didn't even contest it, when basically Sam Giancana handed the election to the candidates. And don't forget, too, Al Gore basically could have contested it, really made a big stink. He did it at one particular point with the court, but then later on they told him, you're going to be the first carbon billionaire. He said, okay, I'll do it. And he made out like a bandit. Never hear anything about him again. By the way, you ever hear about John Kasich anymore? Do you ever hear about John Kasich? I don't. Isn't that weird? Where do these people go? Where do they all go? I don't know. But doesn't this just fascinate you? This is a woman. This was a doctor. I don't know what Rachel Levine was. Levine, MD. She was a assistant. I don't know what her was. She her training. Oh, pediatrics and adolescent medicine. I mean, can you believe that? Can you seriously? This is, I know this is old news. Believe me, I know this is old news. Where we're talking about gender, but for somebody to say, I'm not going to say male. I'm not going to say man. I'm going to say the person with testicles. And what do you call person with a testicle? What do you call that? Is that a woman? No, it's a person with testicles. Do women have testicles? Is there a thing called a woman? Does that word exist? Does it exist to you anywhere, in any stretch? Does that word in anything, female? If I were to say breast cancer, most breast cancer is seen in women, rarely, but it can happen, in men. What do you call that? When does the word woman come in? Is it always ovaries? And I know this may sound stupid, but if I take a woman and I were to give her a hysterectomy, what is she then? What is she? A nothing? Do you see the insanity of this? Do you see the insanity of all of this? Do you see where we are going with this? Now, that's going on at the same time that we are basically ignoring what is going on in Lahaina, which was so awful, so terrible, so awful, so beyond horrible that it blows my mind. And what the implications of this are worse than anything you could have ever possibly imagined. I did some videos today. I said, we are the Narcan to the sock puppet media black pill. We are there. We are a a counteroffensive to these people. The level of evil that we are seeing in this world right now, the level of evil, listen to what I'm saying. For you to have somebody, a grown woman, grown man, grown adult saying, we don't want to use the word mother anymore. What is exactly the purpose? What do you think this is? Let me ask you a question. What if I said this? What if I said there is no such thing as black and white? Sparky says, ironically, JFK may have been Nixon's only real friend. They were fellow freshman congressmen. I don't know if they were friends. Nixon never felt, they kind of laughed at him. Nixon never liked the Kennedys, never liked him because of, remember, he wanted to go to Harvard and couldn't because they couldn't afford the books or whatever it was. And he always resented the Kennedys, who tended to look down on him. Oh, yeah. So I don't know about them being friends. It's a very interesting point. But I forgot what I was going to say. It was such a good point. It was so good. It was so great. I don't recall. I guess what this is, and maybe we can help. Richard Roundtree had breast cancer. Boy, Sparky, you are a veritable, yes, he did, as a matter of fact. And I think it was that called male? Does he say, is it Mr. Roundtree, you have breast cancer? But that happens in men. Excuse me, no. That happens with men with testicles. I don't have testicles. I lost, somewhere along the line, I would love to pull Rachel Levine over and say, Kinner, can I ask you a question? Just for whatever. If you don't mind, could I ask you this question? Do you believe this? Do you truly believe? I know you yourself. I understand you. You dress as a what? Excuse me, Rachel, pardon me. I don't know what your name was. I think it was married, had children, was a husband, whatever. When you you are trans. Okay, trans. What does that mean? You transition from what? Do you have testicles now? Did you have testicles then? Do you have testicles now? Okay, so under your definition, you're the same, because you're saying a man is somebody with testicles. And I mean, it's nobody's business, but if you had them before and you have them now, so the dress and the what we used to call the female uniform, what does that mean? What did you transition from? If you're already a man, you can't transition. You're always going to have testicles. So why even bother? So what this is so what you're saying then, apparently, maybe not. But what you're saying is that your transitioning has only to do with apparel. It has only something to do with apparel and how you're dressed. Because by your definition, what makes you is, and your doctor, the doctor guessed when you were born. Think about what we're talking about. The doctor who saw you as a child, the doctor who saw you in the operating room, the doctor who pulled you out and looked at this, looked at this and said, what do you think this is? I'm going to make a guess. If you can believe that, you can believe anything. If you can believe that, you can believe the Lahaina victims deserve $700 a household. Understand what I'm saying? This is the most incredible thing in the world. When are you going to do something? What are you going to do? I'm asking you, what do you think you're going to do? Are you going to sit back and say, 5 years from now? Are you going to be, will you have given up? And I'm not trying to be cute about this. Are you saying to yourself, "Whoa, well, whatever. What are you going to do?" I'm serious. What do you think? Where are we going with this? We sit back, we say, "You're going to give $700 for this. This Lahaina, this doesn't make any sense. The weaponization, I'm going crazy. I don't know what's going on. We've got this. We got Biden. They want to put Trump in jail. What are you? I'm curious. What do you want to do about this? Tell me. I'm so sincere and so honest. What do you plan to do? Do you have any plan? Do you have any plan? Here comes Sparky. JFK specifically. The other Kennedys didn't like Nixon. JFK actually liked LBJ too, but also the other Kennedys didn't like LBJ. I don't know about that. Like LBJ, well, that's a different story. That's a different story. I am liking and LBJ may have been the closest thing that we have ever had to a functional alcoholic psychopath. Maybe since Franklin Pierce. Maybe since. LBJ knew psychopathic ruthlessness like nobody's business. Period. I'm just going to say that. So anyway, my dear friends, so that's where we are today. That's where we are today. And my question is, and I'm going to ask you this, and I want you to answer my question. What are you going to do about this? Tell me what your plan of action is. Tell me. Tell me. AFC says, "Oh, I like this." Says, "Greetings, Lionel. Just found your channel a few days ago, and I'm really enjoying it. I really appreciate you don't jump to conclusions, but definitely don't stop asking questions." Oh, absolutely. Thank you. That's one of the nicest things you could ever say. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at this. Lieutenant Frank Drebin says, he got a real serious at the farmer's market today. Hens won't lay in this heat. And these people had to have these $8 a dozen eggs. Hell, I chimed in and said, "Stop modifying the weather hijinks." Interesting. Now, if I want to tell you something right now, is the weather modified? Very well could be. Very well could be. Don't know. Very well could be, though. I've talked about that forever. You think it's possible that the weather is modified? Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to remind you of something, dear friends. I want to remind you of something. I want to tell you about a specific and a very, very critical thing that happened in 1997. This was very, very, very important. This was very critical. There was a fellow by the name of William Cohen. William Cohen was the Secretary of Defense, and he says, quote, that there are terrorists at work who, and I quote, "are engaging even in an eco type of terrorism whereby they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves." In 1997. Do you think so? Hal Sanchez says, "I'm going to hide to forget that I'm on Earth. I look forward to my dreams where I'm free to go anywhere." John McGuire says, "I have said before, the only thing most of us can do is to become a poll worker." Martha Riddle wants to question everything. We are, look at this. James says, "My mate Reg is a postman from South London. He was confirmed that he's the Loch Ness Monster. Mystery solved." Thank you so much. Do you think there's anything to Nessie, by the way? Changing the subject. Do you think there's anything to Nessie? Do you think there's anything? This is cryptozoology. By the way, it's never zoology. That would be 3 O's. It'll be zoo, Z-O-O, and then ology, third O. It's zoology. Yeti, others. Do you think there's anything to this? Again, you would ask me, prove it. Could there be? Yeah, I guess. Is it likely? I don't know. See how I did this? Very, very simple. You understand it? It's very, very simple. Prove it. Or show me what you've got. Or give me some research to do. Give me the research. I'm only gonna tell you that right now we are so, I think the kids will call it effed. You have no earthly idea what we're at right now. And I'm trying my best not to be overtly negative, but it is darker and scarier than anything I could ever imagine. Do you recognize why I'm saying? James Martin says, Lionel, I'm disgusted. If he wants me, if he wants to be the Loch Ness monster, he should allow him to be. Yes, absolutely. I talked to a friend of mine yesterday, the other day, and I'm going to tell you something right now that I'm going to say this in a very, let me see if I can say this in a nice way. A friend of mine is in the mental health facility, and she is involved in the New York tri-state area, specifically the New York area, Long Island, but also a lot of city and whatever it is. And it doesn't really matter where you go. So you're going to get a variety of mental illness, the likes of which you don't see anyplace else. And she says she has never seen anything like this. She's never seen the texture, the fabric, the variety, the intensity of mental illness that we're seeing right now. And we're also seeing something, and I want to say something to you. And I want to say it in a way that I think makes the most sense. We're talking about gender and all this stuff. There is a word, the French, it would sound something like poussoir, to refer to a real wimpy man, a real baby, a real crybaby. It's rhymes with wussy. Okay. And there are women wussies too. And why it's a male thing, I have no idea. What I wish people would do is realize, where are their testicles? Where are their gonads, their guts, their backbone? Where is the ability to suck it up, butch it up, be tough, have a backbone? That doesn't mean don't get upset, but stop acting like a little baby. Stop crying. Stop with your little service animals. Grow a pair and shut the up. Just shut up. You're a big baby. You're a child. You're not a man or a woman or a trans. You're a child. And a lot of this is just a bunch of people with a lot of time on their hands. And I'm going to tell you right now, I swear to God, you can be whatever you want. You can be a fire hydrant. You can be a soap dish. You can claim to be anything you want. You just leave kids out of that and stop with this thing about there's no such thing as mother. Your mother is not an egg donor, and stop that. Stop it. Enough. It's bad enough being a kid as it is. It's tough enough being a kid. Look at all these wimps we have right now. Look at these. Look at these people. I can't stand these people. What is the matter with them? I can't stand them. Okay? I can't. We need to toughen it up. You know, in a weird way, in a very strange way, you know who's really like one of the most super tough people is Trump. Trump, you just can't get him. Most of these people would be crying and crying. Even Nixon during Watergate, pray, Henry. Remember, he was drinking a lot, crying, and he was really freaking out. And okay, that's okay. Remember when they came for Jim Baker? Remember from PTL Club? He was crying like a little baby. Remember that? I don't understand something. Crying like a baby? Being upset's one thing, but crying like a baby. Look, if somebody, if your children die or something, that's fine. Or a spouse or something. But to cry like this? We have the biggest bunch of wimps in the world right now. We have wimps. We have children. We have children. Children but not children, behaviorally screwed up children who have no guts, who are afraid and scared, and grown men walking around real tough with a lot of tattoos who are wussies. They don't have any guts. And by the way, they'll spend a lot of time saying, I'm into MMA, I'm into martial art. That's great. That's great. Life isn't putting people in rear naked chokes. I got news for you. Being an adult, being a man, if you want to, is basically doing the right thing and doing stuff you may not want to do, and doing this one, keeping your mouth shut and just sucking it up and doing it, and not complaining and not crying and not wimping out. That's all. Being responsible, being an adult. Yeah, I call that being a man. Yeah. It's something to do with testicles or whatever it is. We have children. And when you go in and you start messing with little kids, let me ask you this. What if I went into a school and I told kids, hey kids, you know what? You're not black. What? You're not African American. No, it's just melanin. That's all it is. There's nothing, your race, I'm black and I'm proud. James Brown was full of it. You're just like, we're on just a spectrum. There's no difference. Good luck with that one. Do you think there's a difference in the races? Maybe not in terms of quality of character, but if you look at them, if you look at somebody and say, this is a black person, this is Asian, can you see a difference? Yeah. Yeah. You ever heard people on the phone or hear a voice and think, is this a black voice or a white voice or a Southern voice or an Asian voice or a woman voice or whatever voice? You ever do this? During the O.J. Simpson case, Christopher Darden said, what do you mean does it sound like a black voice? You can tell a black voice? And I said, are you kidding me? Not always. But what? What? Yeah. There's a difference. Who thinks races are different? They may not matter in terms of the phylogenetic tree or what God thinks, but you don't think there's a difference? And if you're an epidemiologist and you find that there's a different distribution curve in terms of, let's say, Tay-Sachs in this group and sickle cell here, you think that's just what do you attribute that to? Don't say race. Okay, well, postpartum depression is seen in women, people with uteruses who give birth, and they're called, I don't know. Does a man have a uterus? Well, I guess. This is where we are right now. We are so screwed, it's not even funny. This is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm in the same country. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Do you see what they're doing? And the best part of doing it is that nobody's stopping. Rachel Levine, nobody's saying, all right, that's enough. We're from the logic police. This is illogical. You're under arrest. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. I'm with you a lot of other stuff. I'll talk about your global warming over there. And, I'm not talking about, but I am not in any way going to sit here anymore and countenance this ridiculous talk about gender. I mean, it's over with. It's done. It's finished. And if you ask, and I guarantee you, Joe Biden sure knows about it. Hey, daddy's here. Want some ice cream? He knows about girls. Oh, so does Hunter. By the way, the Hunter Biden case, bye-bye. Hey, Miranda Devine, bye-bye. Bye. Laptop from house. See ya. Over. Done. Finish. Weaponization of this. Okay, gone. Done. Finish. Anything else? Yep. Anything else? Yep. It's done. It's over. You had Jim Jordan put in a good show. James Comer was great. One didn't do anything. Nothing. But meanwhile, Trump's case is just falling. Oh, it's going to get even better when they start severing defendants, and if they can move it to federal court, and that, can you imagine? Fannie Willis doesn't get to try that case, or her office doesn't, and it goes to the district court in northern Georgia. So let me leave you with that. This country is so screwed up. It's not funny. And here's the answer. What are you going to do? I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. We don't know. We have no idea. Nothing makes sense. But I have faith in you. We are the naloxone. We are the Narcan. We are the wake-up call. We're going to put people in their place, and we're going to talk about stuff left and right. And let me tell you something. If you don't see any evidence, let me go back to this, of the weaponization, the manipulation of weather. If you honestly can tell me that there's no evidence, you see nothing of it, I can't. I don't know what to tell you. But we need proof of it, not just conjecture, not just, well, it seems to me. We need proof of that. You got it? Okay. All right, dear friends, let me tell you something. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Sparky, you were great. John McGuire couldn't get hired. Thank you so much. You're good and great people. One day we'll talk about. By the way, let me know what stuff I always want to talk about. JFK, and I love this stuff. And don't forget 9/11. Oh, 9/11. I never forget that. Can't talk about that in public. But the good stuff, oh God, that's the one that'll keep you up at night. Anyway, thank you. Don't forget, please, please, please follow this. Follow us, please. Like this. We need your likes. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. We always ask you for that. And in the meantime, my dear friend, we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same bad channel at 8 a.m. And I got the right date. It's been a rough day today. Thank you. Don't ever change. You are the reason God made Oklahoma. I'm serious. I thank you so much. It's so great being with you. All right, dear friends. Have a great day. See you later. Don't ever change. And as we always say, as we always end with this valedictory, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.